Yo, 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 what's up, all you burner stones and potheads? This is Weedman 420 with the Weedman 420 Chronicles. How are all you vipers doing out there? Mrs. Weedman.
Mr. Weedman.
How the hell are you?
Fantastic.
Hey, everybody out in the world. Hopefully you're smoking some big fat doinks while you're listening to the show. Mrs. Weedman and I are about to get normal with a strain that was given to me by a homie. And it's actually a cross. It's a cross between Chimera, Sharona, and 87 Lime Pop. So what I'm going to do is there's no name of this strain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read what Chimera is, and I'm going to read what 87 Lime Pop is. So Chimera is an evenly balanced hybrid strain 50-50 created through crossing the classic white truffle and the creature. Name of this for this gorgeous appearance of a two-faced high. Chimera's perfect balanced hybrid to help you enjoy the early afternoon with energy and peace. We love peace. The bud has eye-catching, dense, heart-shaped, dark olive green nugs with surprisingly bright undertones, thin, furry orange hairs, and frosty coatings of sparkling, chunky, golden white crystal trichomes. As you break apart each glittering, colorful little nug, you'll experience aromas of fresh, flowery lavender, accent of sweet apricots, and a hint of woody pine. The flavor is even sweeter, with a fresh, fruity apricot taste accented by hints of flowery lavender tea. The Chimera high will settle quickly in the mind while creeping slowly into the body. The effects is body high, creative euphoria, relaxing, tingling, uplifting. The symptoms it relieves is anxiety, chronic pain, depression, fatigue, nausea, and stress. Flavors are apricot, citrus, fruity, sour, sweet, tree fruit, woody. Mrs. Weedman loves this. I can tell right now you're going to love this strain, everything you like. And then the aromas are apricot, citrus, earthy, flowery, lavender, sour, and sweet. And then for the 87 Lime Pop is a 70% sativa, 30% indica. 87 Lime Pop, also known as 87 Lime Pop or 87 Lime Pop, is a sativa dominant 70-30. It's crossed by the 87 Durban Citral and Lime Pop strains. Let me get a little taste of this.
My taste buds are horrible today, so.
My gosh.
Tasty.
It smelled out of this world. I mean, it was funk, crazy, all different smells, but the taste is even better. The tasty bud packs a flavor and vibrant high. This is a great strain for a wake and bake on a day when you need a little extra help to get up and moving. Like the name, it implies 87 Lime Pop has a sweet and sour citrusy lemon taste, accented by just a touch of woody pine. The aroma is very similar with a zesty lemon lime overtone accented by woody pine and gassy diesel. The 87 Lime Pop pie is just as bright as it tastes with an energizing and euphoric overtone and has you feeling outgoing and ready to chat with anyone around you. This energy will also spread throughout your body, allowing you to get up and moving even when lethargy and laziness seems to be taking hold. Thanks to these effects and its moderate 14 to 50% average, the THC level 87 Lime Pop is often chosen to treat chronic stress and anxiety, chronic fatigue, chronic pain, and depression. Effects: creative, energizing, euphoria, happy, sociably, and uplifting. It relieves of symptoms of anxiety, chronic pain, depression, fatigue, and stress. Flavors are citrus, lime, pine, sour, spicy, sweet, and woody. And the aromas are citrus, earthy, gas, lime, pine, sour, and spicy, woody. And I would like to thank our homie. And he gave me this strain by a grower called Top Shelf Terps. And this is an Illinois grower here in Illinois. Top Shelf Terps, thank you so much. I don't really have any more information, but just want to thank my homie who works for what is it? Days Off. Yes, Days Off. So thanks, homie, for throwing to the cause. You know the rule. You throw me a nug, got to smoke it on the show, right, Miss Weedman?
That's right. Got to smoke it and talk about it. And of course, we're smoking it out of a Spliff Society palm wrap. Which
thanks, Briggs.
They're delicious.
That is some really good funk right there. My gosh, the flavors are I mean,
tasty. Yeah,
just really, really good. Holy shit.
And I heard you say it's low THC?
One part of the cross is the 87 Lime Pop. I don't know what it is. It's not tested. Just said in the review that it's like low THC, about 14-15%, which for a sativa, which is great, you know, because you don't want me running around doing laps around you.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody out there, don't forget about 8decades.com. Mrs. Weedman's baby. Check out 8decades.com for all your cannabis accessory needs. We have the best smoke tray, smoke set on the planet with a tray. We have the tool set. We have the ashtray. We also have our different types of storage jars. As you can see on our table over here, those are mirror and glass jars that will protect your weed every day from the ultraviolet sun rays that will destroy it and keeps the oxygen out, which is a destructor of weed. I will tell you this, it really does a good job curing your bud. So I would definitely get some of those jars. Get yourself a 62% Boveda humidity pack, throw it in there, and your weed will last forever. Also, some great cooling line. We have grinders, we have steamrollers, we have pins, we have stickers, we have hats, beanie hats. We have a little bit of everything. So check out what, Mrs. Weedman?
8decades.com.
And what do they
Spell
get?
it. And you get free shipping on purchases over 100.
There you go. 8decades.com. Everybody, please check us out and help throw to the cause because, as you know and heard me say 1,000 times, if you support 8 Decades, we get to keep on doing this show. So thank you very much, everybody. Do you chew bubble gum?
Yeah. Do you? You don't. You used to.
I used to chew a lot of
bubble gum.
A lot of bubble gum. I don't really chew gum anymore. I do have slight TMJ. My jaw pops and locks, just like the dance moves, pop and lock a lot. So I don't really chew a lot of gum. But I didn't realize this. Did you realize that gum is 10,000 year history? Did you know that?
I knew it was very old, like
Crazy.
ancient.
It was discovered by 3 Scandinavian teenagers who were hanging out chewing gum one day. I don't know if that's true or not. After a meal. And it was back then, it was made from like bark and tree birch and tar. Had no idea. And I guess they analyzed some like gum from like 10,000 years ago, and they found that the spit like had like red fox like meat in there and hazelnut, deer, and apple.
That's interesting.
Very interesting, right?
Yeah.
So like 9,000 years ago, I guess that they were eating some red fox.
When we were kids, we'd sit in the backyard and pull like apart twigs that were in the backyard from the oak tree, and we'd get down into like the center of the twig.
Yep.
And we were convinced that we were eating bubble gum, and we'd eat whatever it was that we found in there, and it never was like chewy or could create a bubble.
Never.
But we were convinced.
You love blowing bubbles, though.
Yeah.
You're a good bubble blower.
Bubble blowing requires like a car ride by yourself because you need like Hubba Bubba or Bubble Yum or Big League Chew, and you need a lot of, like, my mouth is watering thinking about it. You got to have like original flavor or grape, watermelon.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that long, 10,000 years. And I do like gum.
Yeah.
I mean, I just can't chew it that much anymore. But like I said, they didn't have toothpaste back then, so that was a way they cleaned their teeth too. Yeah, I didn't know that. So, but did you ever find like gum under your desk when you were like going to school?
The worst.
Would you like? What would you like? Did you ever get like stuck like in your hand?
No,
or
I'd be
anything
afraid.
Like that?
No, it would always be hard and gross, and I was afraid to ever put my hand or leg near that area.
The worst
I didn't want to touch it again.
The worst was I was sitting at a desk and I moved my legs and my pants got
stuck to it.
Stuck to it. And it was all
fresh.
It was a fresh, just nasty
Damn.
piece, and it was all over my pants. And I went to Catholic school when I was a kid, young kid.
You probably
and,
got in trouble.
Oh, it was just disgusting. It was just all over my hands. I was trying to get it off. It was all over my. It was the stickiest, ickiest, stupidest gum ever. I don't even know what it was. And yeah, it was all over the place.
Yeah. Did
you ever get gum
from
stuck
the
in
nuns?
your? No, they were not happy though that someone put gum. So they wanted to give everybody in the class a detention because the gum was on it, and everyone was looking at me going, "Why did you?" It was all over me. It's like,
Yeah, what
like
were you
pulling
supposed to do about
strings
it?
out of everywhere. I was like, what the fuck's going on here? Do you ever get gum stuck in your hair? You know anybody got gum stuck in their hair?
No, I'm trying to think when I like worked in salons. No, I had like people came in with like a brush stuck in their hair, but not gum.
Does that happen?
I feel like someone did have gum. Anyway, yeah, it happens.
Yeah, it happens.
Like with
Oh,
kids.
yeah.
Yeah.
How much? So it's that hard to get out, right? You have to cut the hair
Peanut
out.
butter and lots of time and a comb, like one piece
so
of hair
instead
at
of
a
cutting
time.
it out, peanut butter. What does peanut butter do?
The oils kind of break down the gum.
Could you just throw like olive oil on the hair?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of stinking
Probably
like
like
peanut
Dawn
butter.
dish soap.
There you
There's
go.
probably a lot of
Yeah.
things, but
But
for
you
some reason, peanut butter was what we were told to use.
Guess what? Hold the
It
jelly.
was probably like a grandma theory. That was an old grandma. Hold the jelly.
Hold the jelly. Will you light some more of that up?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I want another hit of that.
Sure.
It's
Sorry,
really
I was
good.
just keeping it all for myself.
I know. Joint hog.
It's mine.
Yeah, I didn't realize gum was that long. That's crazy. So, you ready to get the show started?
Yeah.
All right, light that up, and I'll start reading.
All right.
Researchers announced they've discovered a new cannabinoid. New cannabinoid, Mrs. Weedman.
What is it?
In cannabis. Researchers have identified a new cannabinoid named Cannabielsoxa. 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 Cannabielsoxa.
Oh, I've got to see.
Yeah, this is. I can't pronounce the shit out of this word.
Cannabielsoxa. Cannabielsoxa.
I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it
CBS.
CBS or CBX. I like CBX.
Yep. Go for it, Mr. Weedman.
I don't know if the scientists will call it that, but I like CBX. So because it's different. So, but Cannabielsoxa. Cannabielsoxa. If I'm pronouncing it right. I don't get paid to spell, everybody. I get paid to sell. Never forget that. The discovery was made by a team of government and university researchers from South Korea. The study also reports several other compounds identified for the first time in the flower of Cannabis sativa. The research was published in the Journal of Scientific Reports on May 1st of 2025. CBX is structurally similar to CBD, a well-known non-psychoactive cannabinoid. Preliminary analysis suggests that CBX may have potential therapeutic properties, though further research is needed. The discovery adds to the growing list of over 100 cannabinoids identified in the cannabis plant. The researchers utilized advanced analytic technologies and techniques to isolate and identify the new compounds. The study emphasizes the chemical diversity present in cannabis and potential for discovering novel compounds. Understanding new cannabinoids like CBX could lead to development of new medical treatments. The research contributes to the broader scientific understanding of cannabis plants' chemical compositions. The identifications of new compounds may have implications for the regulations of classifications of cannabis products. Further studies are necessary to determine the pharmacological effects of CBX in humans. The discovery underscores the importance of continued research in the lesser-known components of cannabis. The findings may influence future cannabis breeding programs amid at enhancing specific cannabinoid profiles. Yes, I've been saying that for a very long time. I love it. The study highlights potential for cannabis to yield compounds with unique biological activities. Research advocate for more comprehensive studies to explore the full spectrum of cannabinoids in cannabis. The identification of CBX opens new avenues for research into the potential health benefits. The study demonstrates the value of international collaboration in advancing cannabis research. The discovery of CBX may pave the way for novel applications in the medicine and in therapeutics. CBX, you like the name?
CBX.
I like it. I hope they name it that.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I hope they acronym it because I can't pronounce any of those fucking words. They're all just too damn long. So let me give you one more back to this.
It's good.
I think it tastes wonderful. So thank you, homie, for giving this to us. And I'd like to thank Top Shelf Terps for throwing it to the cause because it tastes wonderful. Cannabis smoking not linked to increased risk of emphysema. Other tobacco-related harms. Tell us about it, Mrs. Weedman.
Cannabis smoking poses fewer pulmonary risks than tobacco smoking, and it is not positively associated with the development of emphysema, according to medical image data published in the journal Current Problems in Diagnostic Radiology. Harvard Medical School researchers compared chest CT scans of 285 subjects. 89 participants were non-smokers, 97 smoked tobacco, and 99 smoked marijuana. Participants who smoked tobacco exhibited greater damage to their lungs and heart than did those who exclusively smoked marijuana. Specifically, tobacco smokers were far more likely to demonstrate moderate to severe coronary artery calcifications and suffer from emphysema. The findings of our study collectively highlight the distinct patterns of pulmonary and cardiovascular manifestations associated with smoking and marijuana use, the study authors concluded. It appears that, in general, marijuana users do not appear to develop emphysema or pulmonary hyperinflation. Their conclusion is consistent with several other studies finding that cannabis smoke and tobacco smoke are not equally carcinogenic, and that marijuana smoke exposure is not linked to higher risks of either COPD, emphysema, lung cancer, or other tobacco-related harms. Moreover, the use of vaporization technology, which heats herbal cannabis to a set temperature below the point of combustion, is associated with reduced exposure to toxic gases and has been identified as a safe and effective cannabis delivery practice in clinical trial settings. I want to clarify, they are not talking about a vape pen. an oil. They're talking about vaporizing, correct? Like
Yes.
a
Dry herb.
like a dry herb vaporizer. So you're like toasting your weed. You're decarbing your weed basically, and inhaling the decarb,
Right.
the off gas from that. So very different than a vape. Commenting on the findings, Normal's deputy director, Paul Armentano, said, most Americans agree that tobacco smoking poses far greater harms to health than the use of cannabis. They're right. Nonetheless, cannabis remains classified as a Schedule I controlled substance under the federal law, while tobacco, which is linked to hundreds of thousands of premature deaths annually, is federally descheduled. It makes no sense from either a public health standpoint or from a political standpoint to continue to treat marijuana as if it is more dangerous, or even equally as dangerous as tobacco. The science is clear and consistent. It is not. So, yeah, they need to get on board with that.
They need to get on board with that. Weed for the win again.
Yeah. Does Big Tobacco are they still able to advertise? You don't really see anything tobacco related.
They advertise in certain things still. They can.
Magazines.
Yeah. I haven't seen a billboard for
Yeah, right?
cigarettes in ages.
How are they thriving? Are they just shifting into different products?
Of course. They always do.
Are they manufacturing vapes? Nicotine vapes?
Oh, yes.
Oh, they are.
Oh, yeah.
Like Marlboro, Newport, they make vapes?
Philip Morris. Yeah, I believe they probably get them overseas and bring them back and slap their label with a different name on it. I know one company bought Juul. I can't remember which cigarette company, tobacco company bought Juul, but yes. Also, like Philip Morris owns like other companies too, food companies, and I mean they're a conglomerate. So not only just tobacco anymore, so they own everything. And I was just reading too. I think the tobacco companies are starting to do research on cannabis too.
Of course they are.
Yeah, I think I found an article to read on the next episode on that. So, using marijuana reduces alcohol cravings in people who drink a lot. Federally funded study shows. Federally funded study indicates that cannabis use can reduce alcohol cravings in heavy drinkers. The research was conducted by scientists at the University of Colorado. Participants who used cannabis before drinking consumed approximately 29% fewer alcoholic drinks on those days. Hell yeah. The likelihood of binge drinking decreased by about 50% on days when cannabis was used. The study involved 96 heavy drinkers engaged in treatment programs to reduce alcohol consumptions. Data was collected over a 32-week period using daily self-reports of alcohol and cannabis use. Both frequent and infrequent cannabis users showed reduced alcohol intake on days they used cannabis. The reduction in alcohol consumption was consistent across genders. The study suggested a substitution effect where cannabis use replaces alcohol consumption. Researchers caution that while cannabis may reduce alcohol intake, it is not recommended treatment for alcohol use disorder without further study. The findings contribute to ongoing debate about the role of cannabis in harm reduction strategies for alcohol misuse. The study was published in the Journal of Psychology or Addictive Behaviors. Participants were not required to abstain from cannabis use during the alcohol reduction treatment. The research highlights a need for further studies to understand the long-term effects of cannabis use on alcohol consumption. The study authors note that the legal status of cannabis may influence its use as a substitute for alcohol. The researcher was supported by the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism. The study adds to a growing body of evidence suggesting that cannabis use may impact alcohol consumption patterns. The authors emphasize the individual response to cannabis can vary, the more personalized approaches may be necessary. The study findings may inform future clinical guidelines and public health policies regarding substance use. Further research is needed to explore the mechanism by which cannabis influences alcoholic cravings and consumption. That's good news.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Dialing it back, I drink beer. I have for a very long time. I don't really drink a lot of hard liquor anymore. I don't like the way it makes me feel. It gets me, waking up the next morning. I'll have a cocktail every once in a while. I do like a good glass of rosé with Mrs Weedman. But all in moderation. I'd probably have a beer once a week if I'm lucky. Mrs. Weedman doesn't even finish a beer anymore.
Sometimes I do.
Yeah.
Sometimes
we like a good tasting beer. I'm not gonna sit here and say we don't drink. We drink. We have some cocktails. We do like it, but in moderation. It can kill you. It's been proven. So just be careful. If you're drinking too much, slow it back. Take it back a seat. Start using some CBD.
Smoke more weed.
Yeah, start using some more CBD and stuff to help you get away from it. So, What are the? Maybe I missed that. Did I miss something here?
Well, wait. Well, you're.
Sunshine and cannabis.
Yeah.
They're the perfect pairing.
Yeah.
You love both.
I do. But before I talk about it, I was just kind of curious about tobacco trends. And tobacco is down. Cigarette smoking. They have spent, in 2022, cigarette advertising and promotional expenses totaled about $8 billion. Smokeless tobacco was $572 million.
Wow.
And the cigarette sales between 2015 and 2021, cigarette sales declined about 27%.
Wow.
From 12.5 billion packs of cigarettes, that's insane, to this is just in the U.S., to 9.1 billion.
Jeez. A lot of the millennials and the Gen Zers do not like cigs.
Yeah,
they don't like the way it makes you smell.
Changing.
I mean, when we were growing up, everybody
smoked.
Everybody liked smoking cigs.
Well, not everybody, but
but a lot of people smoke cigs.
So common.
Yeah. Now, if you see
it's kind of weird, like to see someone smoking a cigarette, like standing outside smoking a cigarette.
Yes, it's very. You don't see that as much anymore. You know,
No.
you see people vaping though like crazy. Oh my god, vape.
Like it's a pacifier.
I mean, I was one too. I sucked on it.
The vape should just be on a lanyard around your neck.
There are some people that have them on their neck. So I mean, like Mrs. Weedman said, like those numbers are
changing
out of control. Weird. So, but tell us about the perfect pairing. You like both.
Yeah, sunshine and cannabis are the perfect pair. I can't agree more. We just came back from a beach vacation, and those joints on the beach and on the patio outside
were wonderful.
Ideal. Ideal.
Tell us about
daytime
Mrs.
joints. Sunlight offers numerous health benefits, including the production of vitamin D, boosting mood and sleep, and improved bone health. I need all of that.
You do.
See, I need to be on a beach. It also plays a role in regulating blood pressure and I need that. And it might help with inflammation and some skin conditions. Jeez, Lou, I told you, all I need is get me some palm trees and I will build a little hut on the beach and I'll be happy living.
All right, let's do it.
You can
Florida, here we come.
Yeah. But the golden rays and cannabis also complement each other in multiple positive ways, from cultivation benefits to enhancing the cannabis experience itself. Sunshine and cannabis are the perfect pair. Exposure to sunlight triggers the release of endorphins, the feel-good hormones, by 30 to 50%, which can amplify the euphoric and blissful effects of cannabis. The combination of sunlight-induced endorphins and cannabis cannabinoids, like anandamide, can elevate mood and enhance the overall high. Consuming cannabis outdoors in natural sunlight exposure exposes the brain to a rich sensory environment. Sounds, smells, and sights that can intensify the psychoactive experience by engaging more cognitive processing. Consuming in the sunshine introduces a variety of sensory stimuli, natural light, sounds, and scents, which can further enhance your experience. The brain's ability to process information can slow after cannabis use, so the abundance of outdoor stimuli may intensify the psychoactive effects, making the experience feel richer and more immersive. Additionally, it can have a significant impact with medical marijuana. Sunlight, particularly its UV rays, is known to increase endorphin levels in the body by 30 to 50%, according to scientific studies. Endorphins are natural feel-good hormones that contribute to sensations of happiness and relaxation. When combined with cannabis, which itself releases cannabinoids like anandamide, that promotes feelings of well-being, the result can be an amplified sense of bliss and euphoria. The synergy between the sun's endorphin boost and cannabis's effects may lead to a richer, more enjoyable experience. Growing cannabis outdoors using sunlight significantly reduces energy consumption and carbon footprint compared to energy-intensive indoor cultivation. Sun-grown cannabis farming promotes sustainability and can be part of regenerative agricultural practices that improve soil and ecosystem health. Natural sunlight helps cannabis plants produce more potent buds by increasing THC levels, the main psychoactive compound, due to higher light intensity. Sunlight also supports photosynthesis, which is crucial for plant growth, resulting in bigger yields and healthier plants. Cannabis is grown under the full spectrum of natural sunlight, outdoors develops a more complex array of cannabinoids and terpenes, leading to richer flavors, aromas, and potentially enhanced therapeutic effects compared to indoor-grown cannabis. So, all the more reason to get outdoors and sesh in the sunshine.
Enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't need hours upon hours. I mean, I like staying out in the sun hours upon hours, but you need 45 minutes, to go out there and relax and enjoy some weed and enjoy those rays.
When we were kids, we'd be sent out as soon as the sun came up and don't come back till the sun goes down. And then we'd eat and we go back out until we had to go in for the night.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Outdoors.
Yep.
Amazing.
Yep. Need to be more out there. Get that fresh air going. Fresh. This is going to probably throw a wrench in some people's day. And I did not write this article. I just found it. And I thought it was very good to talk about. Is marijuana entourage effect a real thing, or is it just marketing hype?
Yeah, we've talked about this. So I'm interested in hearing this latest perspective.
And this is from Marijuana Moment, too. Okay. Reputable source in the industry. And so let's get into it. Let's dive into it. The entourage effect is a hypothesis suggesting that cannabis compounds work synergistically to influence the plant's overall effects. This concept has been widely adopted in cannabis marketing, promoting products as offering tailored experiences. Despite its popularity, the entourage effect remains a hypothesis lacking robust scientific validation. The term was introduced in 1999 to describe how various cannabis compounds might interact to produce unique effects. Cannabis contains numerous active compounds, including cannabinoids, terpenes, and much more, contributing to its complex effects. The hypothesis posts that these compounds may work together to enhance or modulate the plant's impact on the user. Research into the entourage effect is complicated by the vast number of compounds in cannabis and their potential interactions. Many of these compounds are still poorly misunderstood, making it challenging to study the synergistic effects. The concept is appealing to consumers seeking specific effects such as relaxation or creativity from cannabis products. However, the scientific community urges caution, emphasizing the need for more rigorous research to substantiate these claims. Some studies in other drug classes have shown synergistic effects, but these typically involve a few well-characterized compounds. In contrast, cannabis complexity requires untangling interactions among hundreds of molecules. The cannabis industry often uses the entourage effects in marketing without substantial scientific backing. I that line right there got me, because there is a lot of companies out there that talk about the entourage effect, and I think a lot of them have really not done their due diligence into investigating it either. I actually worked for a company that spoke a lot about the entourage effect. But when you dove deep into their knowledge, it stopped at, well, it's synergistic and it helps you do this, this, and this.
They didn't really have any data to back it up. Right.
So hypothesis, and when we had our vitamin company, there was a lot of claims you can't say about vitamins. They're not FDA approved, right? You can't say that a vitamin heals this ailment. Is that correct?
There are GMPs, good manufacturing processes, and then there were other standards and organic stamps of approval that would give you quality measures that you could promote, but you couldn't make
claims.
Factual claims, health claims.
Yeah.
You could say things like it is said to improve, it could improve, but you couldn't say it will.
Right.
It'll fix everything. You know? That's just not accurate.
Right. So same kind of thing here a little bit, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I guess if you think about it, while you were reading that, I was thinking about tomatoes. We've come to the point many, many years ago where they were able to give you nutritional value for a slice of tomato or a whole tomato, right?
Right.
And they probably base that on averages. Think about all the varieties of tomatoes that are out there, the sizes of tomatoes. So they had to somehow come to some generalization to come up with nutritional values. Right. So cannabis will kind of be along that line, right? There's so many varieties, so many different methods of growing it, genetics, across the board, everyone won't have the same seeds.
Right.
There's just going to be even same strains.
Like we talked about in the last
strains in two towns could be
we talked about
genetics.
that in the last episode. Right. Exactly what you just said. It could be different. It grew differently. They could use different soil, different watering, different nutrients.
Right.
Could have
And
been.
that's where I think some of the issues come in with the FDA having a hard time regulating it because it's just so the magnitude of
Right.
this plant is just insanely huge. And to be able to turn the actual plant, not make synthetic medications out of it, but to use actual plant materials to
right.
make to pull terpenes out and to pull cannabinoids out and to make medicines, that has to be consistent every time.
Right.
Like that's pretty crazy. I mean, I don't know how to do it. Maybe it's very simple, right? But
Could
to
be.
me, it sounds like an overwhelming impossibility.
True.
I'm sure, to keep it natural. Will they?
Yeah.
The easy way is to synthesize everything
Right.
and formulate things in a lab. But we want the natural.
Yes.
That's what it's all about.
Yes. You're right. So let's get back into it.
Yeah.
The practice risk perpetuating hype at the expense of credibility and informed consumer choices. Researchers advocate for the industry to support studies that advance understanding of cannabis compound interactions. Government regulations can impede cannabis research, necessitating policy changes to facilitate scientific inquiry. Establishing a credible science-backed cannabis marketplace requires collaboration between industry and government. Consumers should approach product claims about the entourage effect with skepticism until more evidence is available. This is not me saying this. This is the research from the article. The article emphasizes the importance of distinguishing between marketing narratives and established science. Ultimately, while the entourage effect is a promising hypothesis, it remains to be conclusively demonstrated through scientific research. I have studied the entourage effect for a long time. I believe in it, but I do agree there's not enough backing, it's still like it says that hypothesis.
We're making assumptions.
Yes. So
based on, but people are making assumptions based on years and years of consumer use and cause and effect, right? I took this strain. This is how I felt. Repeat. But within there's a lot of people who are like, yeah, that's how I feel. They
you can lead
right?
somebody to the water, right?
Yeah.
To get them to say certain things,
right?
Like, when you go to like a median and they like kind of guide you into like
everything they say is so vague it can encompass anything and anyone. Someone is watching over you.
I'd like to see more knowledge base, more research done on this and get some answers. So let's go. Government, science, cannabis, all of you together. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's prove that the entourage effect is real.
Yeah.
So what are the top 4 misconceptions about cannabis, Mrs. Weedman?
Well, the federal government is still debating cannabis, as we know, despite 88% of the country wanting it legal and major medical and science institutes acknowledging that it has health benefits. But some old remnants of the war on drugs support outdated information, which doesn't acknowledge the medical benefits of cannabis. Gen Z is the first generation to seriously begin moving away from alcohol by using more cannabis. Here are the top 4 misconceptions about cannabis. 1. Cannabis has no medical benefit. A persistent myth is that cannabis offers no legitimate medical use. In reality, scientific studies and patient reports have shown cannabis can help manage chronic pain, reduce anxiety, control chemotherapy-induced nausea, and ease symptoms of conditions like multiple sclerosis and epilepsy. The FDA has even approved certain cannabinoid-based medications for specific conditions, highlighting the therapeutic potential. 2. Cannabis is harmless. Like alcohol, tobacco, and sugar, there are some risks with marijuana.
I like how they add sugar in there.
Because
it's 100% true.
Right?
I know, but I like how they make sure Mrs. Weedman, Mrs. Weedman.
There have been no cases of a fatal overdose, unlike some substances, and it causes significantly less body damage. But excessive use, especially among adolescents, can impact memory, academic performance, and mental health. Responsible use and honest education are crucial. With less hangovers and less weight gain, moderate use has been part of the trend called California Sober, where people are giving up alcohol for marijuana. 3. All cannabis gets you high. Many assume that all cannabis products cause psychoactive effects. However, cannabis contains over 100 cannabinoids, with THC being responsible for the high. While CBD, another major compound, does not produce intoxication and is used for therapeutic benefits such as reducing seizures and anxiety. This distinction is vital for your understanding of medical cannabis options. And 4, cannabis is a gateway drug. The idea that cannabis use inevitably leads to harder drug use has been widely debunked. Research does not support a direct link between cannabis and subsequent illicit drug use. In fact, some studies suggest medical cannabis can help reduce reliance on more dangerous substances such as prescription opioids. By separating fact from fiction, we can better appreciate cannabis's potential benefits while acknowledging its risks. Accurate information empowers individuals to make informed decisions and supports a balanced public conversation about cannabis's role in society.
There you go. Right there. I'm super excited.
Yeah.
Because next week, we had a talk today. Next week, you're going to start helping me with the political state and business news.
I am.
I'm so excited. So, I mean, you have your one article on it, but now you're going to start getting into the news with me. I'm super stoked. So for this week,
I'm graduating to the desk. Like I made it as a news anchor.
So I'm super stoked. It'll give Mr. Weedman a little break in between a little bit because sometimes a lot of news is a lot of news
And
to go
sometimes
over.
I'm over here like my eyes are like, I just get spaced out. I'm stoned. I don't even know what I'm doing.
I'm super excited though.
So this will be great.
Yeah. So Mrs. Weedman will next week though. So, but I do actually have a lot of news today. So, I had mentioned on the last episode about Pennsylvania. Well, there's 4 more things about Pennsylvania that happened from when we recorded on Sunday to now Tuesday.
They're busy over there.
Yes. So Pennsylvania senators and governors signal that the House passed marijuana bill needs amendments if it stands a chance of becoming law. Okay, that's number 1. Ready? Number 2. Pennsylvania GOP senator says marijuana legalization can pass in divided legislature as reform bill advances through House. That's 2. 3. Pennsylvania GOP attorney general says he's open to supporting marijuana legalization at some point. Okay. Now, as of about 2-3 hours ago, it is 5/13/2025. It is 10:34 p.m. We recorded late tonight, but I would say I found this article at like 6 o'clock this evening. That it had popped up in my email. Pennsylvania Senate rejects adult use cannabis bill with state-run retail, which I'm fine about. I'm glad I don't believe any state should have a dispensary.
Oh, state-run.
Yes.
Oh, like
alcohol, tobacco, cigarette, anything. I don't think a state should have a business, period. They got enough on their fucking plate to worry about, and they fucked that up enough to where why do they deserve to have a state-run anything?
Oh, and it's unnecessary. Let people own businesses.
Right.
Why does the government need to be involved?
Right. So the Pennsylvania Senate has rejected a bill proposing state-run retail sales of adult-use cannabis despite its narrow passage in the House. The bill aimed to legalize recreational marijuana through dispensaries operated by the Pennsylvania Liquor Board Control Board. No. Thank you. Ugh. Mirroring the state's liquor sales model, which is awful too. Opposition is from Senate Republicans in the cannabis industry, citing concerns over federal legality and potential disruption to existing medical dispensaries led to its defeat. Governor Josh Shapiro supports legalization to address the state's financial shortfall, but the proposed state-run model faces significant hurdles. So that was just all since when we got back into town and we did our first episode when we got back last Thursday to all the way to today. And I've been reading about Pennsylvania for a hot minute now. So I'm glad that it didn't pass because of the state run. I feel bad for Pennsylvania, though, as a whole, not getting cannabis rec, and just not only just have med. So let's see what happens here in the future. Hopefully they can write a new bill and get it done right. Here's another crazy thing. You ready? I want to say something, Nebraska. I love y'all out there. It's one state I haven't been to yet. I will get there one day. I will say this, that your governor and his officials do not respect you at all. Here's the reason why. Nebraska Attorney General pressures lawmakers not to pass medical marijuana bill. Nebraska Attorney General Mike Hilgers is urging lawmakers to reject Legislative Bill 677 designed to implement voter approval medical marijuana regulations. Hilgar argues that the bill could lead to increased black market activity and compromise public safety. Don't you think there's already black market going through your state? Probably more than you even know, Mike. Despite 71% of voter approval for medical cannabis in 2024, Hilgers is challenging the law in court and advises delaying legislative action until at least January. Supporters contend that postponing the implementation would hinder patient access and undermine the electorate's decision. Nebraska's Attorney General Mike Higgins and law enforcement leaders join in opposition to LB 677. Folks in Nebraska, 71% of you approved of medical cannabis in 2024. And all your government is doing is trying to stop you from getting what you voted for. It's your state. You vote them in, you vote them out. They are public servants. They are supposed to do what you vote them in to do. If they don't abide by you voting for something, they shouldn't be in office in your state or as in federal too. So, Nebraskans, please, please, please fight for this. Please, please, please go out there and fight for this every day. You earned it. You fought, you voted for it. Do not let your government officials tell you, dictate how to live your life. You voted them in, vote them the fuck out. U.S. Supreme Court declines to hear challenge to medical cannabis advertising ban. The U.S. Supreme Court has declined to take up the challenge to Mississippi's ban on medical cannabis advertising in the state. Good. Wisconsin lawmakers shoot down governor's marijuana legalization bill. Wisconsin Republican-controlled legislators removed Governor Tony Evers' proposal to legalize medical and adult-use marijuana from the state's budget, rejecting over 600 of his initiatives. Evers projected the tax adult-use cannabis would generate $58.1 million in revenue for fiscal 26-27 and growing amounts in future years. Despite public support for legalization, Wisconsin remains one of 9 states without medical or recreational marijuana market. How about this, Tony, Governor? How about write just a bit, try to and putting it in the budget plan? Why don't you sit down, come across the table with both Republicans and Democrats and your constituents of that state and put together a bill that's worth looking at and have the voters vote on it. Mm-hmm. Have your constituents vote on it and then go into law. Do I got to do everything around here, Mrs. Weedman? No, I'm just kidding. Colorado approves regulatory relief bill. HB 25-1209 passed both legislative chambers in Colorado. The bill aims to streamline cannabis regulations and reduce unnecessary burdens of operators. Governor Jared Polis is expected to sign it. California governor touts results in intoxicating hemp ban. California's ban on intoxicating hemp products enacted in September of 2024 has achieved a 99.7% compliance rate among over 11,000 businesses inspected by state officials. The ban targets hemp-derived consumables containing THC or similar psychoactive cannabinoids aiming to protect public health, particularly children. Despite high in-store compliance, such products remain widely available online, highlighting the need for more consistent interstate regulations. This is a little bit long, but unchecked credit might be choking the cannabis supply chain. This is crazy. Oh my God, wait till this kind of stuff drives me fucking nuts. $2.24 billion in outstanding receivables. The U.S. cannabis industry currently has over $2.24 billion in accounts receivable AR. $2.24 billion with a bunch of B's in there, indicating a significant financial strain across the sector. Top states affected: California leads with $777 million in unpaid AR accounts receivable, followed by Michigan, $231 million, and Massachusetts with $144 million. That is absolutely fucking ridiculous that we let these businesses keep on buying when they don't pay. Mm-hmm. And back in my day, in the traditional market, it was cash on delivery.
Yeah,
you wanted your product, you paid for your product.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to make money on your product. You're going to make your 50% margin on there. You know, you're doubling up and you still can't afford to pay for your weed. Ridiculous. High delinquency rates. In some states, over 30% of receivables are past due, highlighting widespread payment issues with the industry. Shift from cash to credit. The industry has moved from cash on delivery to offering payment terms without proper credit checks, leading to increased financial risk. What credit checks? It's not federally legal. 2, your payment terms, we just decided to give everybody 30-day net terms no matter what. There's some people that want 45 days or 60-day net terms. What industry are you in?
Right.
It's absolutely fucking asinine.
Right. Like, how is the small business supposed to stay afloat
Right.
waiting on payment that long?
Shoo. Unsecured lending practices. Extending payment terms without vetting is issuing unsecured loans, making cash flow unpredictable and threatening business stability. Aging receivables. While 46% of AR is current, 0 to 30 days, 24% amounting to over $529 million and over 91 days overdue, indicating a critical tipping point for collections. You know how hard it is to get collections in the cannabis industry? It's next to fucking impossible to get collections going because it's not federally legal. It's just stupid. You get threatened 1,000 times. The tipping point at 91 days. Invoices unpaid beyond 91 days see a sharp increase in delinquency, suggesting that the likelihood of collections drops significantly after this period. Impact on supply chain. The accumulation of unpaid debt threatens the entire supply chain, from cultivators to retailers, by creating liquidity issues and operational challenges. Lack of industry-wide credit standards. The absence of standardized credit protocols and enforcement mechanisms exacerbates. Pronounce that word for me.
You got it.
I did get
Exacerbate.
it. Thanks. Exacerbates.
It's hard.
Thanks.
Hard
The financial instability within the cannabis sector. Call to action. Industry stakeholders are urged to establish formal credit policies and vetting procedures to mitigate risks associated with unchecked credit practices. Just pay your fucking bills. You buy the product, they give you 30 days, pay it. If you're sitting on product from that cultivator, ask them for some help. Don't just fucking ghost them. Say, hey,
Right.
still sitting on product here. I bought $5,000 worth of product from you. I'm still sitting at about $2,500.
What can we do?
Yeah. Talk. It's a
Mhm.
partnership. You are not customers to one another. It's partnerships. Okay? And we all need to work together to make sure this whole fucking shenanigans works out.
Mhm.
Because a lot of you people out there fuck it up. Sorry to say. You do. You don't know anything about running a business or how to pay your bills or how to do this. You need to hire some people to help you out here. And stop stealing the money that other people need to pay their payroll too, and pay to buy more inventory to be able to make more product.
Mhm.
Everybody needs to pay their bills. I know it's tough sometimes, but pay your fucking bills. I've said it multiple times on this show. Opponents speak out for more than 3 hours against making changes to Ohio's marijuana law. House Bill 160 would reduce THC levels in marijuana extracts from a maximum of 90% down to a maximum of 70%, cap the number of marijuana dispensaries to 350, and reallocate the bulk of marijuana revenue to the state's general revenue fund. Ugh. Come on, Ohioans, fix your shit. Cannabis Means Business announces speaker lineup, new programming. The 11th annual Cannabis Means Business CMB conference is scheduled for June 4th and 5th, 2025 at New York City's Javits Center. The event will feature prominent speakers, including CNBC's Tim Seymour, cannabis hospitality pioneer Philip Wolf, and Woolman's Grow CEO Dr. Shonda Messias. Program includes panels of investment trends, cannabis-infused beverages, compliance strategies, and more. Pre-event workshops on June 3rd will focus on AI integration, global branding and marketing strategies, network opportunities, including normal hosted rooftop event, a women's entrepreneurial luncheon, and a cannabis workforce job fair. Also, I heard there's a big yacht party, too. I want to just go to the yacht party.
Yeah. Sounds like fun.
Yeah. The new bill would ease rules on researching cannabis and other Schedule I drugs. The Evidence-Based Drug Policy Act of 2025, introduced by Representative Dina Titus and Ilhan Omar, aims to ease federal restrictions on researching cannabis and other Schedule I substances. The bill seeks to align federal policy with scientific understanding and state-level realities by allowing federal funding for research and removing mandates requiring oppositions to legalization efforts. The Florida cannabis market weakens further. Well, if you would have went rec, it wouldn't have. Yeah. Florida medical cannabis market is experiencing a downturn marketed by slow patient growth, declining revenues, and increased competition. As of May of 2025, the patient count reached approximately 914,000, representing a 4% state population, with annual growth slowing to 4.1%, down from 11% in 2023, despite a 13.2% increase in dispensaries. Over the past year, revenue has declined, with April 2025 seeing a 2.7% year-over-year drop, the largest on record, While unit sales, particularly smokable flower, have risen, the market faces challenges due to price deflation and oversupply, leading to financial strain for major operators. Medical pot pioneer rips un-American Hochul New York regulators for allegedly threatening businesses, and they want to destroy us. Boris Jordan, CEO of Curaleaf, criticized New York Governor Kathy Hochul and state cannabis regulators for imposing steep fees up to $15 million for medical marijuana operators seeking entry into the adult use market. He labeled these policies as un-American and claimed they undermined businesses that helped establish the industry. Jordan also highlighted the state's failure to curb illegal cannabis imports, which undercut legal operators. In response, regulators argued that the medical operators possess competitive advantages due to their vertically integrated models and they're implementing stricter oversight measures to maintain market integrity. Trump's new Surgeon General pick had meaningful experience with psychedelics. Now, get this. You ready? You ready? This irked the fuck out of me. But said marijuana harms the ability to make good energy. Exactly. That's what my face is. Exactly.
That's so
that.
Wrong.
Yes, 100%.
Who said this?
The new Surgeon General pick.
Well, he's wrong.
She
is wrong.
President Donald Trump nominee for U.S. Surgeon General, Dr. Casey Means, has publicly shared her positive experience with psychedelics, particularly psilocybin, which she credits with providing profound personal insights. Good. We like psilocybin. We like mushrooms. In contrast, she criticizes marijuana, though, asserting that it harms cellular energy production and should be avoided. Doesn't she realize?
Is she a doctor?
Yeah, she's Dr.
Is she a scientist?
She's the U.S. Surgeon General.
Well, what backs up what she's
Dr.
claiming?
Casey, this is just her.
No, I know. Is this just her
opinion? Yes.
Right.
Well, her hypothesis. So hold on.
Well, maybe she needs to use more weed.
Yeah. In her 2024 book called Good Energy, Means describes a transformative psilocybin experience that helped her cope with her mother's terminal diagnosis. However, she warns that substances like cannabis, along with other modern distractions, can diminish the body's ability to generate good energy.
That's so wrong.
So wrong. A term she uses to describe the optimal metabolic and mitochondrial functions. Means advocates for eliminating marijuana use to enhance overall health and energy. I'm when I read this, I was at a loss. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Saying that based upon opinion and her preference.
We have an endocannabinoid system that matches the cannabis plant.
Right.
Our CB1 and CB2 receptors conjoin with it. Our midichlorians, it's good for it. That's the good cells, the happy cells, the good energy.
I don't know.
We have this Dr.
About
Means.
98% of the time when I smoke weed, whatever mood I'm in elevates to a better mood.
Good energy.
Hello.
And don't get me wrong, mushrooms are great. I love them, but I can't eat them every day.
Right.
And I can smoke weed every day. I can eat an edible every day, and it brings me back to good energy. So Dr. Means, I would love to have you on this show and get your reasoning why you think it doesn't give good energy. Prove us wrong, Dr. Means. If you're going to be our Surgeon General for the next 4 years, you better get your shit straight with cannabis. So, because you are wrong. I talked to my doctor. You know who he is? Dr. Vinny Binu. No, that's your doctor. My doctor is Dr. Vinny Boombats and Dr. Quack in the Bush. My two doctors say weed are good. Florida lawmakers kill medical marijuana expansion bill, including one to let the military veterans register for free. Florida lawmakers have halted proposed expansions to the state's medical marijuana program, including a bill that would have waived a $75 registration and renewal fees for military veterans. Florida, come on. You have so many veterans that live in your fucking state. Overshelved measures aim to allow home cultivation, broaden qualifying medical conditions, and protect employment and parental rights for medical cannabis patients. Advocates expressed disappointment, knowing that the legislator's reluctance to advance cannabis reform despite public support. I'm indifferent about DeSantis, but I'll be happy when he's gone because he's been the worst advocate for cannabis since the start. So I'm not saying he's done a terrible job for Florida. I know a lot of people in Florida that love him. They think he's done a great job. There's a lot of people that don't like him. I'm indifferent. I don't live in that state, but what I have to say about his cannabis policies is dog shit. So I don't like him for that reason and that reason only. 2 years after Anchorage, Alaska voters approved using marijuana taxes for childcare, officials planned first rollout of funding. Hell yeah. 2 years after Anchorage voters approve allocating marijuana tax revenue to childcare, city officials are initiating the first funding rollout. Approximately $5.6 million annually will support childcare, workers' expenses, facility upgrades, and stabilize centers at risk of closure. Hell yeah. The initiative aims to enhance access and affordability in the city's childcare sector. That's fucking bad. That's what our money, our tax dollars that we spend on cannabis should be used for. Stuff like that. Not funding the police that have done nothing but just harm us forever. And not funding brand new cop cars and putting it in politicians' pockets. Alaska, I'm proud of you. Missouri cannabis sales in April 2025 totaled $125.88 million, according to the data released by the Division of Cannabis Regulation, making it a 4.86% increase over April 2024 sales at $120 million. The year-over-year gain continues to a trend of measured growth for the state's legal marijuana market. Arizona Q1 cannabis sales down nearly 10% from last year. Arizona cannabis retailers sold $260 million worth of adult use cannabis products during the first quarter of 2025, down more than $27 million or about 9.6% from last year, the Arizona Mirror reports. Do you want to know why, Arizona? Because you have totally price compressed yourself to shit. That's why you're down $27 million. It ain't because people ain't buying weed. You still have the same amount of users in your state. You just dropped your drawers and took it, you know? So, Illinois House Committee approves bill to prevent policies from using marijuana smell to justify vehicle stops. Yay! An Illinois House Committee has approved a bill prohibiting police from using the smell of cannabis alone to justify vehicle stops. The measure, already passed by the Senate, aims to reduce racial profiling in line with 2024 Illinois Supreme Court ruling that odor or burnt marijuana doesn't constitute probable cause for a search. Also in Illinois, lawmakers are considering reallocating cannabis tax revenue to address the state's, you ready for this? Not for child care, but for the state's $1.5 billion budget deficit, which I just found out today that some Republicans and some people that live in the state of Illinois have found falsifying documents that gave $1 billion of money out to where the state doesn't even know where they put it. And there's documents that proved it. So we're now going to fund this $1.5 billion budget deficit because our fucking state doesn't know how to run a fucking budget. So we're getting hosed. Our fucking taxing for cannabis in the state will never go down. Now it's going to fix the budget. How much did cannabis do last year in the state? $470 million. That's 3 years of fixing the state budget right there.
Yeah, right.
You don't think they're going to raise taxes on cannabis eventually?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, boy, I got some ice cubes to sell you in Alaska if that don't happen. Currently, 25% of the revenue supports the Restore, Reinvest, and Renew program, aiding communities disproportionately affected by drug enforcement. Proposed changes aim to divert funds to the general budget needs. So you're going to take the 3 R's that we've talked about. I went to school and learned about this. Okay, when I went to school, the cannabis courses over at Moraine, and I learned all about the 3 R's. Well, they're taking that out now, Illinois. What they said they were going to do and use it for, which I don't believe that you got any of it anyway, maybe about 5%. But now they're going to change it to divert funds to the general budget needs because Illinois does not know how to fucking run a budget. And sparking debate over the potential impact on social equity initiatives. Social equity has not been helped in this state at all. Social equity businesses have not been helped in this state at all. Yeah, they gave you the license sooner. They guaranteed you, but they didn't help you at all. You still have there's social equity that they're about to lose their fucking licenses because they didn't get them open in time. Mm-hmm. But they're able to take that money and put it to the general budget needs instead. The 3 R's: restore, reinvest, and renew.
Yeah,
that's what the state thinks about that. Texas House signals expanding state's medical marijuana program. House Bill 46 would increase the number of health conditions eligible that would offer smokable products under the state's medical marijuana program. And there's some very rough times for American cannabis. Very rough times coming. The U.S. cannabis industry is facing a significant challenge in 2025 with major multi-state operators, MSOs, like Green Thumb Industries and Verano reporting flat or declining revenues. Despite a modest stock rebound in April, the sector remains down over 20% year-to-year date. Now, this is not just the two companies I mentioned, all of Q1's, all the Q1's companies financial, they showed their financial, and for the first time that I've seen, nobody was up. Even Green Thumb GTI, that's normally up, is down. 20% year to date hindered by persistent federal tax burdens under Section 28E and limited access to capital. State level policies shifts, such as Pennsylvania moved towards state run dispensaries, further threatened private operators. We all know that they got declined. Even financially robust companies like GTI are experiencing reduced free cash flow and increased operating costs, signaling a tough outlook for the industry. Hedge fund manager Doug Cass, ready? Said most pot stocks are walking dead.
Wow.
Walking dead. This is what he said. And hold on one second here. I don't know where I can find this whole article. Whatever. It's not a big deal. But I'm just telling you, I study this industry quite thoroughly. And I've been watching the stocks of all the MSOs for a long time now, and I have not seen anything good. I've seen stocks that were like $40 a share now, fucking penny stocks in the last 5 years. I agree with Doug Cass that most pot stocks are walking dead and they are never going to get out of the penny stocks. There's some that'll do well. I'm not saying that they won't, but right now, if you have cannabis stocks, pot stocks, hold on to them for a while. You're going to see an increase of growth on some of them. It's just going to take a very long time to see some kind of money coming back or stuff working in your favor. So just be patient, because we needed to go federally legal. We needed to be not rescheduled. We needed to be descheduled off the schedule list at all. Become like alcohol and cigarettes and tobacco, where it's regulated by the control board, but not scheduled. The whole game will change. We need to be able to cross state lines. We need to be able to go internationally, sell internationally. If we were to allowed to export to the countries that are exporting right now or importing right now, holy fuck, it'd be insane.
Yeah.
California would never have weed. Would never have an abundance. They would be just fine, and that whole West Coast, it'd be insane. So we just need to fix our shit. The federal government needs to fix their shit. The cannabis industry.
Interstate commerce would be
huge,
a game changer for the industry.
Yes, and
banking, fair banking,
safe banking. Yeah, being able to get loans.
Yep.
We can't even claim bankruptcy.
Right.
If a cannabis company can't even go bankrupt, you just got to shut down.
Right.
And lose everything. At least if you file bankruptcy,
you have no protections.
None. There's nothing.
None.
And a lot of things need to change in the next couple of years, or else we're going to be fucking hurting. We employ almost 500,000 people. That's no joke. It's going to bring in $35 billion. Remember I read in one article, $124 billion of commerce is going to happen in the United States with weed, not just selling flour and edibles.
Right.
Talking about the whole fucking enchilada. There's a lot of jobs. There's a lot of money. Yeah. It's a major fucking industry.
Mm-hmm.
We're up there with fucking... Who are we up there with? Cars? No, maybe not cars. What's a industry? Maybe...
A U.S. industry?
Yeah. Alcohol?
Farming?
No. I'm just talking about like ancillary products and stuff, consumables. So I'm saying like alcohol. We're right up there with alcohol.
Yeah.
We put a lot of people to work, make a lot of people some money. Mm-hmm. People will be able to make a good living.
Yeah.
What do I know, Mrs. Weedman, right? But it was just Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Right?
It was.
Why are marijuana's most important but also misunderstood market? Tell us about it, Mrs. Weedman. You're a mom.
I'm a mom.
Are you misunderstood?
Yeah. I don't even understand myself. All right. Mother's Day always gets me thinking about the incredible moms in my life. This is written by Jordan Insenstat, a guy. So my Mother's Day always gets me thinking about the incredible moms in my life. My mom, my grandmothers, my wife, and my mother-in-law. I wouldn't be who I am without them. And working in cannabis, I've been lucky to get to know a whole new generation of incredible moms who are reshaping what wellness, parenting, and cannabis consumption can look like. I've even consumed cannabis with my mom. It was one of those rare, honest, connective moments, the kind that reminds you how much this plant can offer when it's stripped of stigma. It wasn't about getting high. It was about relaxing, laughing, and sharing space together. That experience stuck with me, especially because I see so many moms looking for alternatives that feel good and do good. And cannabis, when marketed and messaged the right way, can offer exactly that. Let's be real. My mouth is really dry. If you're a cannabis brand not thinking about how to reach moms, you're missing one of your biggest opportunities. Women make the majority of household purchasing decisions in the United States, and moms are often the ones researching, buying, and recommending wellness products to their circles. They're the original influencers, long before the word was digitized.
You always say that if you had social media back when our kids were young, back in the early 90s.
If digital influencing, like social media,
you'd have been
Instagram.
You would have been a fucking rock star.
Fuck yeah.
You had a lot of shit going on with the kids and all the crafts.
I did some crazy shit.
Yeah.
I was doing shit all the time. Building stuff. I was farming at one minute. I was volunteering here. I had a lot going on. I would have had a platform. I would have had some stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
Anyway, and yet, cannabis marketing to moms often falls flat. It's either overly sanitized wellness speak or cringy stereotypes. Moms are smart. They're busy. They're intentional, and they deserve better. Brands like House of Puff get this. They're creating products that are stylish, educational, and built specifically with women in mind. They're not talking at women. They're talking to them about art, culture, and cannabis in a way that feels natural and empowering. And the brand Heirloom is making some of the most mom-friendly cannabis products in the market. Their line of infused beverages is a favorite among canna moms for a reason. They're approachable, low dose, and actually taste good. Eaton Botanicals is another brand leaning in with intention. Their Gal Pal gummies are formulated to support women's wellness and offer a functional, feel-good option that meets moms where they are. This shift is ever reshaping the dispensary experience. Alta Dispensary in Chelsea has designed a cannabis retail space with women in mind, building a thoughtful environment and hosting regular women-focused wellness programming. It's a sign that when moms are centered, cannabis becomes more inclusive, welcoming, and practical.
Can I say one thing?
Mm-hmm.
There's one other brand out there that wasn't mentioned in this article.
Mm-hmm.
8decades.com.
Yay.
You need to check out 8decades.com because it is built by a mom for moms.
Yeah.
If you look at our website, the clothing line is all hemp and organic cotton.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at our smoke set, it was designed to leave out nicely. It's not filled with cartoon characters. It's 16 gauge stainless steel. The ashtray is a windlass ashtray that was designed after one of your dad's ashtrays. It looks great on a table. It looks great on your patio furniture. It looks sleek. It's nice. Also, the mirror and glass jars, black jars, are great to leave out. So moms out there, this was built by a mom named Mrs Weedman. And she understood what moms look for and what designs would look sleek to leave out. Why did you create 8 decades?
Well, to stomp the stigma.
I understand, but the
products.
products.
Start the conversation.
Start the conversation.
And because we need to get rid of prohibition of cannabis.
Yes, but you started the products, though.
Don't
Why?
stash your stuff.
Yes.
I don't know where you get. I've
that
got
was
a lot
I'm getting
of things.
at. The products.
Where are you going, Mr. Weedman? Where are you going?
The products.
What?
Why you design these
Right.
cool-looking products?
Yeah.
These nice products.
Because it's time to have nice-looking products.
Yes.
I want them on my coffee table.
Yes.
And I don't want cartoon stuff in my.
You want
my
nice, classy,
space.
sleek stuff that
I'm
represents.
very kind of particular about decor.
You are. That's
I don't
all.
want rainbows in my dining room. Like rainbow tie-dye and all that stuff.
Right.
There's a place for it.
Yes, there's a place for it. But you wanted stuff that you were able to leave out, that looks nice, that's a conversation starter. Be like, oh, that's a really nice smoke set. That's those are really nice jars. What are in them?
Yeah.
That's where I store my cannabis. So also one brand that should be mentioned on here is 8 Decades for all you moms out there. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Little plug.
This isn't a trend, it's a shift. I'm proud to work with so many canna moms who have replaced booze with cannabis and say they feel better, sleep better, and show up more fully for their families and themselves. This isn't a trend or a wine mom rebrand. It's a real shift in how moms are thinking about wellness, connection, and self-care. Of course, stigma still lingers, but it's fading, thanks to honest conversations and brands that are willing to lead with education instead of hype. That's why companies like Alibi Cannabis, Alibi Cannabis, women-founded and values-driven, matter so much. They're not relying on the women-owned label as a marketing ploy. They're doing the hard work, creating high-quality products, building trust, and showing that women aren't a checkbox on a form. They're leading this industry forward. Here's what brands need to get right. If they want to reach more moms and skip the cliches, they need to start here. 1, educate, don't assume. Moms want to understand what they're consuming and why. So offer clear information, approachable language, and transparent sourcing, because it goes a long way. 2, respect her time. She's not spending hours reading a terpene chart. Make it easy, make it clear. Bonus points if it fits into her tote bag next to snacks and sunscreen. And 3, normalize it. Cannabis isn't a guilty pleasure. It's part of a wellness routine. Treat it that way, with the same normalcy you'd give to a yoga class or a green juice. Moms aren't just a demographic. They're culture shapers. They're actively redefining what self-care, wellness, and responsible cannabis look like in real life. It's not about hype. It's about real stories, real needs, and real shifts in behavior. This Mother's Day, I hope you celebrated moms who are unapologetic about doing what works for them. Moms who are informed, curious, and ready to talk openly about cannabis. Moms who are choosing clarity, calm, and connection, and helping normalize those choices for everyone else. Here's to those canna moms. They're not just part of the conversation. They are leading it.
See? Moms are the best. International news. The Weed Care study in Switzerland found that legal cannabis access slightly reduced problematic use, particularly among polydrug users, without increasing mental health issues like depression or anxiety. After 2 years, participants with legal access showed improved mental well-being. The study supports legal cannabis benefits for public health. Germany cannabis industry hits 500 million euros, 2,500 pharmacies now dispense, 211 grow clubs approved. Roughly 2,500 German pharmacies, more than 1 in 7 now dispense medical cannabis per ICBC and the BVCW data. Analysts say edibles, topicals, and broader retail access are crucial for Germany to curb illicit sales and unlock full industry growth. What's next, though? Germany is already Europe's largest cannabis market, and interest from international operations and policymakers show no sign of slowing. But experts say broader legalization, including more product categories and commercial access, is essential to meet patient demand and curb illicit activity. Proposed first-of-its-kind weed smoking patio gets rejected in Nelson, BC. Brenton Raby's application for Nelson's first weed smoking patio was rejected by the city council. Despite local support, concerns from neighbors about cannabis-related issues and oppositions from the mayor led to the decision. Raby plans to appeal and believes the cafe history with Brandy's Place influenced the outcome. Parliament Speaker says marijuana should be legalized in Armenia. Marijuana should be legalized in Armenia. The Speaker of the Armenian Parliament, Alan Simoyan, stated during the Deep Talks program. He explained that he does not initiate the legalization process as he knows that he will not be able to convince people. Today, the world is unable to fight marijuana, and that's why it's on its path to legalization and to take it under control, Simonian noted. Legalization has largely displaced Canada's illicit cannabis market. A study in the International Journal of Drug Policy shows that 3/4 of Canadian cannabis consumers have switched to legal markets since nationwide legalization factors that lower the prices and better access to legal retailers have driven the shift, with sales continuing to rise with plateauing 5 years post-legalization. And that was international news, everybody. This is a funny article. This is a real good article. We just celebrated Easter on 420, but wouldn't this would be great on 420 with the Weedster bunny. The Weedster bunny, not the Easter bunny. The Weedster bunnies was hiding eggs, Easter eggs, full of weed throughout a city. The Weedster bunny gets busted by police. Meh, meh. Tell us about it, Ms. Weedman.
In what might have been the most ill-conceived cannabis publicity stunt of the year, a 23-year-old Texas man has found himself the subject of a police manhunt after hiding plastic Easter eggs filled with marijuana throughout the city of Lufkin. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Weedster Bunny. According to police reports, Avante Nicholson took the concept of an Easter egg hunt to a whole new level by stashing weed-filled eggs in 3 local parks. Why parks? In 3 local parks and behind a Motel 6, as if
That's random.
It's weird,
That's
right?
weird.
It's so strange. As if the act itself wasn't brazen enough, he then remember Texas is not a legal state. As if that wasn't brazen enough, he then proceeded to post photos and hints on his social media page guiding potential hunters to the locations. If there were an award for how to get yourself arrested 101, our friend Avante would be taking home the gold. The cops in Lufkin didn't need to work too hard on the case. After receiving a tip from a resident who spotted the online posts, officers simply followed Nicholson's Facebook breadcrumbs and went on a cannabis scavenger hunt of their own. Their haul? About a quarter ounce of weed distributed across several parks in a city 2 hours north of Houston.
That's a lot of weed.
Yeah. In a plot twist that perfectly illustrates why this was such a terrible idea, the final egg was discovered by a young girl who was at the park with her grandfather. Imagine Grandpa's surprise. Grandpa was probably happy.
Yeah.
When he, instead of finding a chocolate bunny or jelly beans, his granddaughter discovered a plastic egg containing a federally illegal substance. Not exactly the family-friendly Easter memory most people are hoping to create. Lufkin Police Chief David Thomas summed it up nicely. The safety of our community is at the forefront of everything we do. And in cases such as this, when it endangers children, we are even more vigilant. It's hard to argue with that logic, regardless of your stance on cannabis legalization. Let me be clear. I love the concept of a Weedster bunny. The fusion of cannabis culture with holiday traditions can be both fun and normalizing. Cannabis-themed Easter egg hunts for adults are already happening in legal states, usually at private residences or licensed consumption lounges. When done responsibly, they're a blast. The problem here wasn't the concept, it was the execution. First, hiding cannabis in public parks where anyone, including children, could find it is wildly irresponsible. This isn't just about legality, it's about basic decency and common sense. Children shouldn't have access to cannabis, period. That's something that even the most ardent legalization advocates agree on. Second, broadcasting the whole thing on social media wasn't just incriminating, it was boastful in a way that reinforces negative stereotypes about cannabis users. His Facebook page reportedly contained multiple references to selling drugs, along with a statement that whoever shopped with him that day would get clues to the eggs' locations. The Weedster bunny wasn't just skirting the law, he was taunting it. Third, the quality involved. About a quarter ounce spread across multiple eggs suggests this wasn't just some lighthearted prank. It appears to have been a promotional stunt for his dealing business, which transforms it from a misguided joke into something more calculated. The concept of a Weedster bunny could have been fun in the right context, a private, adults-only event in a legal state with clear boundaries and responsible consumption guidelines. Instead, we got a public hazard that put children at risk and gave ammunition to the prohibitionists. Stories like this one do real damage to the cannabis legalization movement. While they might seem amusing on the surface, they reinforce the very stereotypes that we've been working hard to dismantle. That cannabis users are irresponsible, they don't care about community safety, and they can't be trusted to consume responsibly. I've been noticing a concerning pushback against cannabis reform lately. After years of steady progress, we're seeing more resistance from conservative states and even federal reluctance to move forward with meaningful reform. In this climate, the actions of individuals who can have outsized impacts on public perception. The reality is that the vast majority of cannabis consumers are responsible adults who use in private, don't drive impaired, keep their cannabis secured away from children, and generally behave like the law-abiding citizens they are. But prohibitionists don't judge us as individuals. They judge us collectively. One weedster bunny making headlines can undo months of careful advocacy work. Right now, the cannabis community doesn't need stunts that reinforce stereotypes. We need to showcase the exemplary stoner. We need to highlight the medical patients finding relief, the professionals unwinding responsibly after work, the creative minds unlocking new perspectives, and the everyday people whose lives have been improved by cannabis. There's a time and a place for cannabis irreverence and subversive humor, but public parks and prohibition states ain't it. So, what should our friend Avante have done differently, besides not hiding illegal substances in places where kids play? If you're genuinely excited about the concept of a cannabis scavenger hunt, here are some much better approaches. Keep it private and adults only. Host it at a private residence or in a legal state after or at a licensed consumption venue. Get explicit consent. Make sure everyone participating knows exactly what they're hunting for. No surprises. Secure the perimeter. Ensure that no children or non-consenting adults can accidentally stumble upon your festivities. Know your audience. This kind of event is for established cannabis consumers who understand proper dosing, not a recruitment tool for new users. And keep it off social media. If you're in a prohibition state, documenting your illegal activities online is never wise. Even in legal states, cannabis consumption still violates platform community guidelines on most social media sites. Now, also consider alternatives. Non-THC options like CBD treats or cannabis-themed but substance-free prizes can still capture the spirit without the legal risk. And remember the why. Is this about creating a fun community experience, or is it about showing off? If it's the latter, maybe reconsider your motivations. The Weedster Bunny concept isn't inherently bad. It's all about context and execution. A responsible cannabis-themed Easter celebration could be a wonderful tradition in the right setting. The tale of the Lufkin Weedster Bunny serves as a perfect case study in how not to advocate for cannabis normalization. While I appreciate the creative spirit behind the idea, the implementation was deeply irresponsible and potentially harmful to both innocent bystanders and the broader cannabis movement. As we continue to fight for full legalization and normalization of cannabis, we need to be mindful that our actions reflect on the entire community. Every negative headline gives ammunition to those who oppose reform, and every irresponsible stunt reinforces the stereotypes we've been working for decades to overcome. I'm not saying we need to be perfect. Cannabis culture always had an element of rebelliousness and humor that's central to its identity. But there's a difference between pushing boundaries thoughtfully and endangering kids while flaunting illegal activity. So, if you feel inspired to become the next year's Weedster Bunny, do it responsibly. The Easter Bunny brings joy. The Weedster Bunny should do the same. Not create problems for kids and the cannabis movement at large. As for Avante Nicholson, buddy, if you're reading this while you're on the run from Lufkin PD, turn yourself in and get a good lawyer. And maybe next year, stick to hiding chocolate eggs.
Reginald Reefer.
Yeah.
He's such a good writer. If you're ever in Chicago, Reginald, stop by the studio. We'd love to have you on. America's favorite weed strain.
What is it?
There's a lot of favorite weed strains Mr. Weedman has, but this is America's favorite weed strain revealed. Polled cannabis consumers recently revealed their favorite strains, and they are rooted more in weed history than the release list. The Sanctuary Wellness Institute polled 1,000 cannabis consumers about the buying preferences. This includes the top 3 favorite strains right now. Nearly 1 in 3 people said choosing a strain is too complicated, but they will probably buy these 3. Blue Dream is still the most popular weed strain among consumers.
Blue Dream?
Mm-hmm. OG Kush is second most loved, followed by Gorilla Glue, GG4 in third. Strains are considered more important than the brand to 71. Even Vega liked the GG4 too. Yep. Strains are considered more important than the brand to 71% of the respondents. People either base their decision on bud tender recommendations, 37%, the plug's advice at 27%, online reviews at 45%, and word of mouth, 59%. 1 in 6 of the polled group use social media or cannabis apps to find new strains. As for what customers want from their weed, 64% sought out mental effectiveness, 57% were after physical feelings it could create, and 45% selected flower based on flavor and aroma. Boomers leaned more towards indica, along with 34% of those polled. Gen X, Gen Z, and millennials opted for hybrids, along with 38% of the group. No one generation preferred sativa, but 28% of the people polled did. Crazy.
Yeah.
Three like strains that have been around for a hot minute,
a long time.
too.
Yeah,
for a hot minute. You know, I remember the first time I smoked Blue Dream, I was out in California. 2014. I'll never forget it. I was at Willett's Skunk Train. Skunk Train.
Louise, there's stories for that.
Yeah, it is like
there's things I don't even know. I don't need to know.
That was the first time I experienced Blue Dream, and that fucking strain blew me away.
You experienced a lot of things.
Oh, yeah, I did experience a lot of things. I was banned for life. After that, my one time and one time only, I was never allowed to go back again. That was a good time, though. Some of the freshest, cleanest air I've ever breathed in my whole entire life was when we took the train up to the mountains and to the redwoods, and it was unbelievable. I want to tell a little story before we go. This is a fun story. Mrs. Weedman and I like to join back up. I'd like to thank our friend at Days Off, who gave his friend strain to us to smoke called Top Shelf Terps Chimera number 2 and crossed with 87 Lime Pop. Great stuff. I want to thank you for getting us high and thrown to the cause. But before we go, I'm going to tell you a little story. Mr. Weedman is going to give you a little story. We got some time. My niece Littles, who created Buddy the Bear over there, and our anime was here with us over the weekend. I want to thank Littles for hanging out with us and giving us the gift. But I want to tell you a little story. Mr. Weedman is a big believer in St. Anthony. St. Anthony is the finder of things lost, I guess. That's what I'm calling him. My aunt, who is a teacher of mine back in 6th grade, taught me, I lost something, and she taught me a prayer to say. And she goes, if you ever lose anything, you can't find it, just say this prayer 3 times in a row, and you will find it. You might not find it that exact moment, but you will find it. St. Anthony never fails. I said, okay. So the prayer goes like this. St. Anthony, please help me now. There's something that's lost that cannot be found. You have to say it 3 times. Kind of like Beetlejuice. So my niece lost her keys. And for about 8 hours, you and Littles were trying to find her keys. And I kept on saying.
No, we searched for probably an hour, and then we didn't have keys. So
for like 8 hours.
Then she hung out for 6 hours.
Right. So I kept on saying up from the studio, Ms. Weedman, say the prayer to St. Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to repeat the prayer to Littles a bunch of times. I'm like, say it. Go look. Now, I kept on telling her, go say the prayer and go look again. You're going to find it. And next, you know, what did I do? I caught her laying on the couch looking at her phone like 5 hours later. I'm like, all right, I'm done with work. Did you say the prayer? I said the prayer. I'm like, you sure? I said it. I said, listen, I'm a true believer that this works. Let's trace your steps. Did you look here? Yes. Did you look here? Yes. Did you look outside? Yes. Did you look out? I was taking pictures, blah, blah, blah. Went through the whole list, right? I said the prayer out loud, and I said, go get me your camera bag and go get me your suitcase. We went through the suitcase, didn't find anything. We went through the camera bag, pulled everything out of the camera bag. There was nothing left. We took everything out. But there was a hidden pocket, or a pocket that she had forgotten about. So I pull the bag up. I pick the bag up and I give it a shake. And Littles goes, "That is the tassels and the stuff making that noise." I said, "I don't think so." And I grabbed the tassels and I grabbed the whatever was making noises on the outside and shook it. And I said, "Where's this pocket that I'm hearing this sound come from?" And she goes, "Oh, it's right here." And she goes in
and pulls out keys.
St. Anthony did it again. So everybody out there, take it from Mr. Weedman. If you lose something, say this prayer. Like I said, you might not find it that minute, but I'm telling you, it's not failed me since 6th grade. And I am now a 52-year-old. And I've been using that little prayer since I was, 12, 11? 11. And it's worked every time. Ms. Weedman, it's even worked for you when I try to find stuff for you, too.
My grandma used to use it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So everybody out there, you lose your bong, you lose your rolling papers, you lose your weed, say, St. Anthony, please help me now. There's something that's lost that cannot be found. And say it 3 times. Not Beetlejuice, but the St. Anthony prayer, and I promise you will find it. So Littles, take heed. Mr. Weedman here taught you something again. St. Anthony, you're the best. Ms. Weedman.
Mr. Weedman.
That's the end of the show.
Well.
You got anything else to say?
Let's smoke some more.
Oh, we will.
Yeah.
You got anything else to say besides that?
Everybody have a fantastic week. Stay well, be safe, and smoke good weed.
Because good weed ain't cheap, and cheap weed ain't good.
Just smoke good weed.
Yes.
If you're going to smoke it, make it good.
Make it good. Everybody, we love you out there. Thank you for listening. As Paulie always says, smoke smart, puff, puff, and away.
Puff, puff, pass.
Check out our cannabis lifestyle brand online at 8decades.com. Our custom smokes and accessories are perfect for your coffee table, bedroom nightstand, or kitchen counter. They're designed for you to show them off. The Canna community is also loving our hemp and cotton blend t-shirts, sweatshirts, scarves, and hats, finished off with our 8 Decades logo. We've got some awesome long-lasting goods that will be your favorite for years to come. 8 Decades, because a 9th decade of cannabis prohibition isn't acceptable.